So after like a month of like unadulterated depression, I guess, I'm feeling like I should probably grow my beard out a little bit. I don't know. I'm not too savvy right now with my sort of feminine approach to things. A lot of people kind of bring that question up to me, and which is why I kind of want to talk about it tonight. They always seem to kind of stop and stare in awe and really wonder, like what the hell are you? Are you gay? Are you trans? Are you queer? Um, I've never really been able to give like a definitive answer to things because it's like it's a shifting element. Um, it just seems kind of as the seasons change, I change and kind of grow and develop as a person. And it's just kind of like finding your balance between masculinity and being feminine. And that to me seems like something that has become sort of over exacerbated with the way fucking society is now looking at things with like transgenders and stuff like that. And trust me, there's been moments in my life where I really question like what the hell I was doing. But taking a step back from it, I've always kind of looked at it in the sense of like kind of like a David Bowie thing, or maybe like I don't know, even Marilyn Manson sort of deal, where it's just like these are artists, are people who just they wear what they want to wear and they do what they want to do. And I think we're just living in a day and age where it's just like we've got like all this weird stuff going on where people just kind of miscategorize it and they don't understand it. They immediately assume things, which is I first and foremost have believed and still believe to this day and age that human assumption is probably one of the greatest flaws we have as sort of these conscious beings that are smart enough to build tools and propel rockets into outer space, but they can't figure out that some guy just kind of has a twisted sexuality to him. And it's just like that's all it really boils down to. And a lot of people just really, I don't know why it unsettles them. I mean, I think a lot of it might have to do sort of with maybe with Christian piety, if you want to throw that in the mix and kind of just straddle around with that one for a while. Because we have like this system of values, and I can understand why religious people, probably more or less Christian Catholic people, have may have an issue with it because some of them are just a little sheltered and they don't understand it. But it's just to me it's just another form of art. It's just another form of expression, and if people see it as a sexual proclivity, then it's like fine, more power to them. But uh, the idea of like someone calling me like the F word or something like that has really never really never shifted my view or stance on my own sort of personal confidence. I mean, it's just a word, and that's another thing that I kind of just try to step away from is taking too much criticism from other people, because I think self criticism, is a little bit more valid, but it's also a little toxic too to sit there and criticize yourself. But if things are being conducted in a constructive way that is not particularly violent, the word androgyny never really shows up in my book anymore. People always just assume, and they always say, "Oh, you're gay or you're trans." There's just like sheltered fucking dumbasses who just can't get over themselves. They can't get over things, and it's just so taboo to them. It's so fucking taboo. It's just like how could anyone have this sort of sexual nature to them, I guess. Well, it's weird because they'll sit there and they'll criticize me while they're getting like strapped to a bed and fucking whipped in the dick with fucking dog weeds, and no one finds that obscure at all. You see like maybe these politicians, and like they've got these photographs taken all the way back from like the 1980s or something, and they're doing like fucked up shit, and like no one really frowns upon that. Oh, it's just a sexual fetishization or something like that, if you want to say. But I don't know. But with the whole trans thing, it's just like I thought for a few moments in my life that it's just something that people definitely wanted to coerce me into, which is like sort of my problem with sort of like the social standards kind of constructing themselves around you and pressuring you into things. And it's just like I really just always wanted to say to people, no, I'm not trans. It's just like whatever happened to these terms like dressing and drag or cross dressing or something like that. It's just like people make these implications just out of these psychic energy banks in the back of their subconscious mind, which kind of tells you who they are. It's a form of expressing that they don't have much going on in the cookie box upstairs. They're just a little lost, if you ask me. And I think it would be more appropriate for people to evaluate, well, more or less for people to observe something without evaluating it. So, like, if you see, like, someone who is, transracial or something, or just looks transracial, it's just like people would just assume immediately and then, sort of evaluate it from there. I know I'm kind of going off a tangent here. I just didn't want to use trans people or drag queens as a reference, but it's just like if you see a guy, what I'm saying is like if you see a man dressed as a woman, a lot of people will make an evaluation as opposed to an observation. And by that evaluation, they'll be like, oh, well, he's clearly trans, or she is clearly trans, if you want to be up to date with the nomenclature of pronouns. So, that was one of the things that just irks me is like they don't make an observation. An observation would be like, well, this person looks like they're trans. They may be gay, or they may be just dressing up. Maybe it's fucking Halloween. It is Halloween almost, but yeah, it's sort of weird, and especially when it comes with me. I've sort of struggled with it for a better half of my life, and I think a lot of it is just from the social aspect of things. It's just the way people look at it. Um, in that sort of derogatory sense. But that's part of the reason why I enjoy doing it, is not to be derogatory, but just sometimes it just twists and grinds people's gears, and it's like their tiny little minuscule hamster wheel brains just they can't fathom it. Like they're constructed like in this weird social confine, and I don't see how people can't climb out of that and just kind of seeing like just they can't like come out with like a set of binoculars and take a look around and understand the bigger picture here. But again, a lot of the sort of negative part of me would like to say, well, that's because of sort of the religious value system. But I don't know, people are very homophobic in this day and age. Not to say that there's this overt sense of homophobia that is going to like terrorize the world and chop everyone's dicks and balls off and sort of glue them to the sides of their heads. No, that's something like the Mexican cartel would do. I don't think it's like this over rampant expulsion of homophobia racing through the streets. But yeah, there's clearly homophobic people. But I tend to think that it's not in the physically violent sense, as it is more in just the nasty, I'm gonna fucking deconstruct you and criticize you and think I'm better than you sort of fucking sense that you pick up on a lot. And you really just gotta take a step away from people like that, because they're dumbasses, and it's just like it's just ignorant behavior, and like I really don't take too much offense to it. I have a conflictions with certain people who just always want to take it a step too far, and they always make it an issue, and they never want to let go of it. And I tried to, the more you try to explain yourself to these fuckers, the less they understand, because like I said, it's like these lights blinking right now, nothing much is going on up there. So I let you stay off that one for the night.